Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Suit Up Geek Fix podcast. Today we will be breaking down Miss Marvel episode 2. Now, Wednesdays are my favorite because of Miss Marvel and not because of another show which we're going to be reviewing after this at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to break that down. I personally thought that Miss Marvel episode 2 was really strong. I liked it better than the first episode. And it was just something that it's just so refreshing with Iman Vellani, and I really loved her. And she's just a superstar. So every single episode is going to be great. I'm going to pass it down to Loretto with his first impressions of episode 2. How's it going, Lo?
Hello. It's a little warm over here. But delightfully, I've been enjoying great content. I have things later to say about the other show, but we're talking about this. We're talking about Miss Marvel right now, and Miss Marvel was a delightful. I really liked introducing more of a what's her Noxia?
Nakia.
Yeah, Nakia.
I really because it was funny. We made the joke. Ryan, you and me were thinking the same thing. Like she was there and then she disappeared and then she came back. Like who is this friend? So I thought that was cool that we got more of her, and I think it's nice to have that girl-girl relationship. I mean, Bruno is obviously having some troubles over here, but overall, first impressions of this episode, I really liked it. I'm not sure if I like it more than the first episode yet. It's more or less the same, but that's a good thing because the premiere was so good. And yeah, I really like the direction it went. Carmon is a charming young male and captured the heart of Kamala, and looks like everybody that saw him was like, ooh, who's this British hunk that's walking into the room, so I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was well developed, and visually again it's just really well crafted and really fresh. I really appreciate the behind the scenes camera and lighting, and it's just really fun and vibrant, and I love it. It's really great.
Yeah, it's so good. And you spoke about Nakia and Kamala's relationship, and I think that's so important just for young girls to see those conversations being had. It was just really empowering just to watch that. And honestly, like, sure, she'll have the crush, whatever, and like, oh my god, okay, Bruno is coming in and he's like, there's a love triangle and all of that, like all that is happening. But for me, like, the friendship between Nakia and Kamala, like that overshadowed all of that. I didn't even care about the guys. They're like, okay, they're there, they're typical crushes, whatever. But I love that friendship. Dibs, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was another great episode. I thought the character stories so far are really good so far. Not a lot of people are gonna like this, but Bruno, Nakia, like I think these two are better sidekicks than anything we have seen from MJ or Ned. And I'm just gonna say it. I think they're really well represented. I thought representation was really strong this week in a lot of different ways. And there's a lot going on in this series, and unlike Obi-Wan, I think this is just a really strong character story. But everything just feels so refreshing here, and almost to the point doesn't even feel like a Marvel product. Like it's so good that every turn I'm waiting, or every different scene I'm waiting for Paul Rudd to show up, not as freaking Ant-Man, but as Josh from Clueless. Like it's such a great coming of age story. The pace, the script, the character interactions, you nailed it, Amanda, about Nakia and Kamala. I just, every time they're on the screen, you can't not have a stupid smile on your face. It's incredibly fun. I can't imagine what this show must feel like for young females out there. It is extremely strong and well written. I think Bruno's feelings for Kamala really showed up here in episode 2. We can deep dive into that more a little bit later. That's definitely something to note, but I just think this show is doing such a good job of giving us that origin story, but also still having her use her powers. It's got great balance. And really, like, I don't know, this show just makes me smile. Like that scene where Kamala saves the boy and does the landing pose. Like there's just so much. I just love it.
I love that landing pose. I literally yelled, I'm like, superhero landing. I was just so happy for her. And Rai, what do you think of episode 2 so far?
Honestly, I think it's just like such a joy to see someone in the MCU enjoy being on set as much as Aman Vellani, because she just exerts it throughout these first 2 episodes alone with just this one, but you see it even more so within the second episode. I don't want to ruin the scene that really exerts it because it's my favorite moment in the episode. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, but just every interaction she has with every single character in this show is just so quirky. It's great. You feel like she's actually there and she's actually having those feelings, and you don't really feel like you're watching someone live their life in this bigger universe. And I think that's the thing that they really got right with this show, and something that could have fell flat on its head in that aspect, especially with the amount of references that this show has to offer. I think they do it very well. And I gotta say, one of my favorite things about this show that is turning up, especially within this second episode, is just seeing the cultural dynamic and how it works within her life. You haven't really seen that in any comic book material that turned into live action form. I'd say that I can remember, at least. I'm sure I'm forgetting about some side plot that got 2 minutes of attention in some film, but yeah, it's refreshing to see this different perspective on life that I don't know really anything about, and just seeing her and Nakia when they're in mosque, and I don't want to say it wrong, but the leader, the one leading the prayer, and calling her out in that little back and forth they had was really funny. And I'm just like, wow, even though they show that the culture is pretty strict within its rules, the people themselves understand youngsters at the same time, if that makes sense. And that's something you don't see too often, because I feel like a lot of cultural stories are shown through a much, I don't want to say darker, but a little bit meaner perspective. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think even having them celebrate Eid Mubarak in the episode, it was just very celebratory. And obviously, as you said, they've painted it in such a dark way in other other shows and movies. So I think that there's like a good balance of like trying to discover who Kamala is at like a superhero level now that she has it, and then as a very human level. And that's where like Bruno and Nakia really just balance her out, and I really love that. The one thing, I don't want to get into like negatives, but the one thing I felt with episode 2, even though I loved it, was that I feel like they're like rushing the storyline a bit, and I don't know what it is. Like the pacing's fine, but I feel like they're moving way too fast and we're not really staying with these characters. Dibes, how do you feel about that?
Deep is muted.
I'm back. For me, I don't think it's a negative. Like they've got a lot to tell for sure. I think there's a lot already in place for, I think, events to unfold. I think we already, like, for example, I think we already just got our villain. So I think there's that. But I think there's a lot of story to tell. Like this episode 2 really slowed down to kind of let some of these characters shine, and I don't think it really skipped anything. What do you think is not getting addressed?
For me, I feel like it's just even her like discovering her powers. I think the montage was like way too fast. Okay. And it reminded me of like the Shazam, like it just reminded me of that, but I feel like we stayed with the powers a bit more in discovering it with Shazam. I don't think that like that's necessarily a focus, and that's being put on the back burner. But
I will say this about the powers. Shazam has a variety of different powers that don't just come from his hands. And I think that's where you kind of run into the problem is, how diverse can you be when you show off her powers when all she really does so far is make plates to walk on and makes her arm go stretchy?
Yeah, I don't think we even like.
And Deeps, they said it during that scene too. They pretty much confirmed that the fucking bracelet is going to be done by the end of this season, right? And that the powers from within her, they confirmed that this episode. And I think that's really them telling us is she's going to become more and more powerful with each episode this season, but she's going to become even more powerful within Captain Marvel 2 that I feel like Terrigenesis in space, where however that may account for in the next Captain Marvel film, enhances her ability. We don't really know too much about like her bracelet, like how much it does to her. I mean, they started at the end of the episode, they started hinted towards it. I'm sure in the third episode that they're probably going to tell us more about it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I just don't want it to get lost in like the bigger story because there's so much happening to her in her life, which is great because we get to see it. But
like, that's the thing. I don't really feel like there's too much happening. I was about to say, if anything, I would have agreed if you said there wasn't much going on, really. Because yeah, I wanted to ask Deebs, who'd you see the villain as? Because I don't know who you got to be as the villain, because right now I just see it as this is a season of exploration of powers and culture, and honestly that'd be perfectly fine with me and refreshing, because we've had so many villains throughout the MCU already, and we've just got done with Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, and we don't need to see a fucking 14, 15-year-old girl fight someone 3 times her age that has just 3 times stronger powers than her, but because she's the hero, she needs to conveniently win. I don't need to see that anymore, because I feel like what they got going with these characters, between the dilemma of the past of the bracelet and the Terrigenesis powers, and the culture and family with her friends, I feel like there's enough within the season alone to keep us invested. And I feel like with each episode, we're just going to learn what her powers are going to become more and more. Well, I think we're going to have an antagonist with the DOC, but I don't think we're really going to have like a villain, if that makes sense.
What's your theory, Dibes? I need to know now.
Well, yeah, it's for me. Well, so the MCU show is definitely going loose from the comics for sure. But Cameron is definitely someone that I think is in play to be groomed as a villain moving forward. That's how I see this playing out. He's got some villain history there in the comics. I don't know where this is going, but if I had to put money down, I think that is a really good bet. He clearly wants something from her. So I think that's where this series is going.
Yeah, I can see that happening, especially after this. But I think that's going to be constantly surprise us. And before I go to Loretto, I'm just going to say hi to Caitlin. Thanks for coming, love. Thanks. Lo, what do you think about the whole villain theory with Dibes and what he just said there?
What's funny is that was my first thought, like the second he took her out for a driving lesson. Like, it was cute. But in my back of my head, I was like, is there another ulterior motive here? Like, why is he so interested in Kamal? Like, like there was a lot of questions in my head. Like, like obviously the video went out and no one knows who it is. But I mean, what if someone did know it was her? And I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm not a fully 100% on board yet. I kind of hope they prove me wrong and subvert that expectation. But I was right there with you, Dubs. I kind of had the same kind of instinct on that. So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see the Kree come into play here.
Easily.
Think of that.
It's coming. It's coming.
I mean, I'm trying to like say this without really getting into like what my theories are, but like I just can't really see too much how this story is gonna play out into Captain Marvel 2, and I'm more curious than anything because. Yeah, right now, you can just see the trails of Captain Marvel. And I'm not just talking about because she's a fangirl or anything, but you can start connecting dots and being like, oh, Terrigenesis, Kree, Aisha is coming with this. And if you guys heard Bruno mention, do you know what this language is on the bracelet? And it was kind of like a little one-off side thing. She's like, I don't know, Arabic or Urdu or something. And I think it's much more than that. I think it might actually be Kree on there. That was my first thought. They never actually showed it either. So it's not like we can actually go back and see. So right now, I think it might actually be Kree. And I think the bracelet might be the connection there.
The even crazier theory. And this really
crazier.
this would even get me. This would get me like off the couch and going absolutely crazy.
Boner would just pop up.
But in the comics, the Negative Zone has an element in Miss Marvel's story. Like she can access the Negative Zone. So if those visions are someone in the Negative Zone, who lives in the Negative Zone, who discovered the Negative Zone, that is Doctor Doom. And that would just be the biggest name drop ever. That would be so fun.
So do you think it's going to be a name drop instead of a cameo of like someone? Do you think that would work in this show?
I think it's definitely. I don't think they're going to go there. I don't even think
I don't think they're gonna go there either.
You never know.
I've been wanting Doctor Doom like in the MCU for freaking decades. So for me, it's the Kree. I think the Kree makes the most sense.
Yeah,
I do think it's going to be a little self-contained, and we'll have probably a mention of the Kree to set up Captain Marvel 2. But Doctor Doom, the Negative Zone, man, that would just throw me through the roof.
Now, I gotta think here that Captain Marvel's got to be in this finale, bro. Right? There's no way she's not like. It's funny we're saying this now because there's been like absolutely no hint or rhyme or reason to infer why she should be in this. But I feel like there's a lot of dots that we can connect from what we know to what we know with the Captain Marvel film. Or who even knows? It might even be Monica Rambeau, but I think it's going to be one of those two that recruits her. So I just think that's really going to be interesting.
I think it's more of a chance for Teyana Paris to be in this just because she was in WandaVision. Like it's like television to television. I don't think that Brie's going to make an appearance.
Yeah, it's much easier to get Teyana than Brie also.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, it's probably going to be
all those characters are way better than anything from Brie. So
I would be like, fuck yeah, bro.
No, like Monica Rambeau, Kamala Khan, like they're just running laps around.
Bro, this is what's gonna happen. Post-credit scene. Botan's gonna come in. She's gonna be like, "Hey, yo, Kamala, we saw what happened this past season. It was kind of fucked up with what happened, but I got a message for you."
You know what?
Turns out to be Miss Marvel comes up in a little Star Wars proton projector thing.
Like, is it like? Can you think of like Amanda brought up Shazam. Like, can't you see? At the post-credit scene is Nakia and Kamala eating lunch in the cafeteria, and then her friend comes over, is like, I got someone for you, and you just see the bottom half of Captain Marvel there walks in.
Bro, it's the Captain Marvel suit from Shang-Chi too. It's the one that they made over the weekend. It's not the one they made for the movies.
Lo, how you feeling about all this? Do you think we're gonna get a cameo, name drop? Who's coming?
Well, honestly, from the beginning, in my back of my mind, I was like, "There's no way Brie's not in this." That was my stance from the premiere. So yeah, wishful thinking. I definitely think some kind of post credit's gonna tease Captain Marvel 2. I just don't know who, but I'm fingers crossed. I feel like Brie could do it. So I'm not ruling that out at all.
Yeah, I said that last week that the whole WandaVision takes place in New Jersey, Westview. Yeah, I don't really know. I'm also trying to think who the fuck makes her suit. If it's not Bruno, because he seems like they pretty mentioned in the first episode he's not pretty handy like that. Maybe it's Kamran and his mother. You know what I mean? The people you guys might think are villains might be people that are helping her, and that's what I think. Because I can't possibly think who else it might be with three episodes in the next episode, with it being the third episode.
Nick Fury, clear like that's Nick Fury.
He's been in space though.
Yeah, but he could recruit her to come out or something.
Yeah,
along those lines. That makes a ton of sense.
I mean, it does make sense, but I have zero theories.
I
got
mean,
nothing.
He didn't recruit Monica. He got the Kree to do it.
Maybe we haven't seen it. Maybe he has. I don't.
We don't know yet. This is only episode 2.
To be fair,
I think that's the biggest
Fury
one.
has no boundaries. Because Kree Fury was the one wrecking Peter's Far From Home trips. So.
Right.
The biggest winner here is the MCU. Because I had this much interest in Captain Marvel 2, and now I'm like talking about it here. And I never thought I would be sitting here talking about it. I did the same thing in WandaVision.
We're gonna do that for the next four weeks too. We're gonna
So-
keep mentioning Captain Marvel. for
The
next
biggest
4 weeks.
winner is Captain Marvel. That's
I'm
for
just
sure.
happy that it's a different director and not the two of them, and hopefully the writing is better because oh my god, the first Captain Marvel. Anyways, that was a mission. I think we can get into favorite moments unless you guys have anything else to add to this episode and any thoughts
Yeah.
that you guys had.
I do.
Yeah.
Who did it better, Night Monkey or Nightlight? Floor is yours.
Ooh.
Night Monkey.
I'm gonna
Sorry.
say Nightlight. Nah, I'm gonna say Nightlight.
Nightlight was cute. I like it.
Right. See?
Night Monkey did it, baby.
Oh god. Loretto, come on, chime in.
Absolutely.
I was like, what?
I like them both. I don't want to choose.
Gonna be that person. Oh my god. Thank you, Caitlin. Okay, we have something. But my favorite moment of the entire episode has to do with a needle drop of Be My Baby after she I was dying. I was like, this is exactly what goes on in my head. Like, this is perfect. Like a young girl literally like seeing this like cute guy at a party, and then she just comes home and just like switches it on. And it's like whatever's in her head, it's just like projected onto the screen. And I love that. So young girls, women, we've all been there. We go back and we like look at this episode, and it's like, oh my God, it's like exactly how I was feeling. I'm saying obviously guys can too. Like I'm not saying that, but it's just like it hits different. But just the way Iman Vellani exuded like this beautiful confidence from the beginning of this episode, and then that song came on and she performed it, like, oh my God, obsessed with it. It was like my favorite moment. Oh, I loved it. But yes, Dives.
That was my favorite moment too.
Oh, yay. Okay, good.
The show didn't have to do that. Like it's already charming as hell. Like, but the risky business vibes of that scene were so good, man. I think it just captured that like teenage crush type of thing. And a quick shout out to Kamala's parents as well. Like Kamala gets caught sneaking out, then she has to go to a party a few days later. I love that family, man, and she's so cool.
The family dynamics, like, probably my favorite on television ever, just because of how honest they are, and they just communicate with each other so well, and I love that. Ryan, what was your favorite moment?
Well, since you guys kind of stole my favorite moment, another great moment was when they went to eat lunch and ran into her brother and his fiance. And the entire interaction was so funny because the fiance obviously knew what was going on, and her brother's so oblivious that he's just like, yeah, he's our cousin, like doesn't even really think about it. And I think a lot of my complaints from last week actually came back this week even more, not even more, but were acknowledged with, we got more Nakia and more of the brother, which I thought were really good highlights in this episode because they, like I said, every character that has a relationship with Kamala, it just works. And I think that's one of the strongest things about the show too, is I think it's one of a perfectly casted show so far all around. But yeah, that's like my favorite moment.
I love that. And Loretto, what do you got?
Well, Dives, I actually really love that you mentioned Clueless. It's an honorable mention for sure, but when Zoe was like exaggerating how she felt about getting saved by the nightlight, that hella reminded me of when Brittany Murphy was exaggerating the story and Cher was like looking at her like,
yeah, totally.
Honorable mention there. But honestly, I really like, and this is probably like a random scene to pinpoint, but like again, I just love the energy and the direction of how this is written. For example, when they get to the festival and then Nakia is explaining her campaign strategy, like it looked like something out of like New Girls. It was like, all right, here's the bros, the mosque bros, here's the Insta click, here's the aunties we gotta impress. And I love the way that was cut and like the visual like text on the screen. It was just beautiful, and it was just like the energy to the way that was edited was just so cool. I really like the style so far of the show.
Don't tell Scarlet Witch about the anti-Illuminatis. Don't tell her.
Illuminantes. So
Illuminati.
I died laughing.
yeah,
I'm
like
just
that was
so
really
realistic.
funny. I was like, that's clever. Illuminati.
Some
Yeah.
mean girls in there too. Some definitely mean girls.
Yes, there's so
Yeah,
much.
definitely. That's what I
There's
was just
so many
saying. Like, had that
references.
mean girls. Like, these are the cool Asians. These are the jocks.
I also
I
liked
love it.
liked what they said when Nakia said too when they first got there. All right, guys, it's time to eat and gossip. like that's all those events are there for, because that's a very big cultural aspect. There's people like gather, I guess, and eat food and gossip throughout like the parents and stuff. And I thought that was so funny.
Shout out to Nakia for destroying Kamala's dad.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
I was shook. I was literally shook. I was like, "Oh, girl, did you do
And
what I
like-
just think you did?"
the camera pan when like his emotion changed. At first he was like eating, he was happy, and the camera started rotating, and then he was like,
Yeah.
It's
she
just
just
so
wrecked
good.
him. She
Oh
was like,
my
I'm
God.
practically like your daughter, you know? Like
Oh
Yeah,
my
just
God.
straight up.
So good.
No, it's so good. I loved it. But even the one part where like the kid was taking a selfie like out of the tower, I'm like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
kid, what are you
Like,
doing?
what are you? No one like does it out of a tower. Like, I don't understand that, but I can't. I literally can't. It was just so dumb. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that last scene, like the fight choreography, her power set, and then obviously her seeing Alicia like that. What did you think of her actually fighting like her first real saving her first real like person, I guess, like that she knows that she has to save him? Loretto, how'd you think of all that? What'd you think of all that? I can't speak.
I'm gonna be honest. I just came to the stark realization that I didn't even finish this episode.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I'm like so confused. I was like, what fight? I was like, wait, what happened? No, because I actually got interrupted during my watch. I got all the way to when she was talking with the aunties, but I didn't get to the last 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my god. Okay, that's awesome. I gotta watch it.
Oh my
I
God.
was so confused. I was
That's on the
like,
cliffhanger, man. I did not. You gotta watch it.
Wow.
That's
I
how
know,
Dives
I
has his
know.
theory. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
no, I was so confused, and then you guys are talking about her saving some kid, and I was like, wait, what?
It's okay,
I was
Loretto,
like,
you gotta
I don't
pass.
remember that. Like, all right,
You get a
okay.
pass just for today. It's okay. Dives, what did you
I'm
think
like,
of
what are we
that
talking
scene?
about here?
I think, I think what it did well, it did two things. It definitely cemented Nightlight or Miss Marvel as like, this up and coming superhero, but it also kind of showed her, the gravity of what could happen. When that boy fell and hit that car, you saw her reaction. She was just like, it was all fun and games and amazing and cosmic and all that fun stuff up until that moment, really. So I'm really interested to see how that carries over into episode 3, because I think that was her, like, probably Kamala's big takeaway was like, oh shit, like, lives are literally in my hands now.
Mhm.
I'm a superhero. I gotta like up my game, like from here to here. And I thought it was great. I thought the cliffhanger was really amazing. Caitlin's on it, like Cameron, I think is the name.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
going to be her cousin. That's going to be really, really weird. But I think that's where this is going. There's clear family ties happening here that have gone down in the past. So I loved it. I thought it ended really well.
Yeah, and normally they don't really do the cliffhangers. If we're gonna go like Marvel Formula 6 episodes, it's usually like the 4th or 5th episode that they would
Yeah.
either do a post-credit scene or a cliffhanger, and then episodes 1 and 2 has a post-credit scene and a cliffhanger. So it was just really weird that ended up happening. But I really love this episode. I think that just Iman Vellani herself, like, she just is a burst of energy in the MCU. Like, we needed someone like this moving into like phase 4. Not saying that the other actors aren't that great, but I think that it's just like a really refreshing like person and spirit coming in here. And it's a kid. it's a kid. Like we get to grow up with Peter Parker, and now we get to grow up with her, and it's
Now-
awesome that we get to see that. Yeah,
So I was calling this like my most anticipated show because like I wanted her to interact with Spider-Man moving forward. Like you see how those two could just be amazing on the screen together.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bro.
That'd be gold, straight gold.
It's fucking Sony, bro, and I want to. Dude, it's literally fucking Sony. That's all it is. Like the bro, she lives in Jersey City. From someone who lived in New York City their entire life, you could fucking see Jersey City every single day. So the fact that like there's never any nods, like no, you don't see a magazine or newspaper saying like Spider-Man saves the day. You don't see anything in like headlines. It's always like someone from the big Avengers, I guess. It's always like Hulk, Captain America, some shit like that. But like I'm like, guys, you got Spider-Man right there, and I just don't get why they can, or if like someone's not allowing them to just name drop. I know they did it in Doctor Strange,
it's
but
a
that was
contractual thing, dude. Like I think
Dude,
Sony has to sign off on every single mention of Spider-Man.
it literally has to be, because I could guarantee you $5 the scene that they mentioned in Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, was a reshot scene maybe 2 months before the movie came out. I can bet you $5. And that's really what makes me think that every time they have to use like some type of Spider-Verse character name, they legally just, and I find that so annoying when you've got such a big character in one of the biggest cities in the world. And you've got this character who's around the same age, exploring life right next to him, and they can't internet. It bothers me. Sorry, D.
You know who did get a nod this week? Did anybody pick it up?
No.
Maybe if you mentioned it.
You did not. No one picked up the other guy who got referenced.
Was it in the last 10 minutes?
No, it could have been. Actually, it could have been. Yeah, it was. But the Eternals got a reference.
Did they really?
Yeah,
When?
Kingo got referenced when her and Cameron were sitting at the restaurant and they were talking about famous movie actors. And he got name dropped. Kamala's
I didn't notice that.
mom is obsessed with him. It was Kingo.
I didn't notice that at
I
all.
didn't even notice that. It's funny you bring that up too, because I felt like they might have mentioned him, because I remember paying attention and just telling myself, because I thought that was another real standout, is like, man, I love the respect for Bollywood films and like them going down the list of like, I think I named maybe one of them that was like real life, but I love that I couldn't name it, because it shows a different aspect of this culture, and not even culture, but industry, that I feel like Hollywood just kind of has overtaken a lot of minds, not just in like America, but just UK, Canada, that we're kind of like the big deal, that we're the only ones who can make these type of films. But you go to China, you go to India, these places have big markets by themselves. And Bollywood films, it's crazy. They make the same amount of films that like Marvel films do, but they only make them within their country, and they rarely get released widely, and you never see them get spoken about. Like, for instance, I want to watch Triple R on Netflix. It's a long fucking movie. I need to find time to watch it, but no one was showing it when it came out.
Yeah.
One theater, one time in all of Colorado. And I'm just like, okay, that just doesn't work. And just to see the love and appreciation for filmmaking in a different culture, you love to see it.
No, it's true. And I think that's what Miss Marvel's doing so well, is that it feels like it's very natural and effortless. And I feel like other shows, whether it's culturally or religiously, they try to like jam it in there, and then there's no flow. I think that's like the main thing about Miss Marvel, is that there's so much flow, and like it's just nothing's out of place.
It's because
And we're just
sorry,
No,
continue.
go ahead. No, go ahead, Ray.
No,
Go.
I was just gonna say, I think that's the thing about the show, is because I think the show, other than WandaVision, has the most focus on what it's trying to tell the audience. It's not. You can say the same thing about Moon Knight. It's not focused on building this bigger world, but I felt like they got lost in their own tracks trying to expand the mythology of this one character they were trying to introduce too much. And I don't want to say they realize that because they're coming out so close together and all of that, but you can see a change within this show, that this show's tighter in its focus, and it's kind of not all over the place. It's not having a villain just to have a villain so far. It's telling us what we need to know, where we need to know. It's telling us who we need to care about, the relationships we need to connect with. And like I said, I feel like the third episode next week is going to be a pretty plot heavy episode. I feel like we're going to get dumped on us about who she is, who Kamran is, what's going on with the bracelet, what's going on with the Terrigenesis within herself, and unlocking the ability. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I feel like this is the one show, because you mentioned the focus of it. I think it's like more of like an introduction, and it feels like an introduction to this character, and that nothing else is like being like thrown in here. Like obviously Captain Marvel's mentioned, but it's more of just like small scale. This is who Kamala Khan is. This is a slice of her life in each of these episodes, and I think that that's why it's really working, and it feels different from the rest of them. We can go into grades now if you guys had anything else to add, but everyone's good. Yeah, we can go into grades. Cool. I'm giving Miss Marvel episode 2 a 4.5 or out of 5, but like that would be an 9 out of 10 on that scale. I think it's very consistent in tone. I just really love that Iman Vellani just had this confidence that she didn't have in the first episode. It's a different level of confidence after she got her powers. So I really love that. I keep saying Iman Vellani and not Kamala Khan just because she is the person. So I don't know why I keep doing that. But I think that the story is progressing really nicely, and we get to see her with all of her friends and her family and actually have these beautiful character relationships and a great dynamic with every single person in this cast. And I think you're just rolling with her. Like whatever's happening, you're like, yeah, okay. It's like, it's perfectly fine, whatever she's doing, and you're connecting with her. And I love it so much, and these song choices are just beautiful, and I can't wait to see what they're opening with next week. I'm really excited about that. But Lo, what would you grade this episode?
He can't even grade it. He hasn't even watched the last 10 minutes. Yes, he can.
The last 10, we
From
just
the
described the last 10
80%
minutes
that I saw.
It's fine.
You know, I'm kind of like at an 8.8. Like I will probably be a 9 once I get that final fight or whatever. But
there you go.
There's no fight. She
it was.
She gave you false information, my friend.
I didn't mean fight. It came out
she's
wrong.
A false
I mean,
leak.
She's a false leak.
She's a false leak.
No, she saved someone.
Don't listen to her.
All right.
I'm so sorry. There's
whatever it is, I will enjoy it sometime later. After the Black Phone, maybe I'm gonna see the Black Phone. But yeah, it's so far it's close to, it's about a 9. That's what I give the premiere as well. So
nice. Dibes, what would you grade?
It's very consistent, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think man, it is consistent. I gave last week a 9. I'm going to give this week a 9. I thought this week's episode was amazing. Yeah, Laura Cartman is the composer for Miss Marvel. I think the song choices have been outstanding. Love the characters. I love that this show's getting deep. Like, you really got into the partition of India and different things like that, and things that I like obviously are not in my culture. And it's really intriguing. It's really a refreshing show. I'm just all in on this series for sure. So 9 out of 10.
Between this and Moon Knight, I have no idea what's coming next, and I love that. Like, that excites me. I think that's why I really had fun.
Shield's coming next.
I think that's a really big piece. Is like they're definitely taking their liberties with the story. So who knows? Like, who knows where the final episodes and what direction they head in? But it's going to be awesome to watch Miss Marvel, Kamala, like become more powerful because that's coming. She's going to be a mainstay in the MCU moving forward. And that's exciting in itself. That like you're watching a show that's not teasing Kingpin for one episode. You're not teasing Yelena Belova for one episode. This is about the growth and the development of Kamala Khan, and I just love that we're watching it.
I just love that whenever we have to speak negatively about a show, Dive just goes straight to Hawkeye every
Jump
single
on
time.
Hawkeye.
It's
All
like
I'll say
every
is
time.
Hawkeye is one of the highest rated MCU projects.
Oh boy.
That's
No,
all I'll
no,
say,
no.
bro. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Leave my LARPers alone, all right?
Oh god. Oh man. But Rye, what would you grade this episode?
All right, you guys, I don't want you to fall out of your seats right now.
Oh no.
I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
Whoa.
I absolutely fucking loving this show. Right now, not as high as WandaVision, just because I'm so nervous with the 6 episodes. I don't think they've really truly proven that these shows need to be 6 episodes long. Some of them could be shorter, 6, maybe more. It really depends. And I think that's why WandaVision works so much well for a lot more of us, is it was fleshed out a lot more. So I'm kind of hoping this story doesn't push another plot line in this next episode. But right now, I think we're on a really good track, because I think Iman Vellani, she's shining as the brightest fucking star right now. She's the new Tom Holland. She's the new Tom Holland. Yeah. And I love her to death. And honestly, she's going to be the reason why a lot of people go to a Captain Marvel sequel.
100%.
And I think this show, along with Iman, just exudes vibrancy. And I love it, because not one single frame of this show is boring. I'm always intrigued and interested looking at this show, from dance numbers to sitting in a mosque. Everything's so beautifully lit and shot that I'm just like, holy shit, bro. This is what I feel like we've been looking for from a behind the scenes creative standpoint, and not just a character standpoint. And I think that's why I'm loving it so much. So yeah, I give this a 9.5 easily.
Damn, I can't believe you rated it higher than I did. Did not see that.
That's
coming.
because you don't like quality entertainment. You like
That's not
BVS.
What? Every time, like every single time. Oh my god.
Yeah, she likes Venom. Sorry, had to do it.
Yeah.
Wow. Anything else?
That's what
Dive,
likes
would you like
Venom
to add?
too. That's what likes-
Yeah,
No.
Venom 2 is great.
No, I mean, I did dig Multiverse of Madness. I really did
It's
dig
cool.
Moon Knight, but none of those projects, I'm going to say it, have this level of excitement. Like, this feels fresh. Like, this feels, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because we haven't had that kind of like vibrant MCU project in a long time. Maybe that's a piece of it. But for me, like, this has me excited about the future of the MCU. And I haven't had that feeling, well, I guess since No Way Home and Shang-Chi, and those are terrific. But since WandaVision, for a TV show, it's been, for me at least, WandaVision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't that keen on WandaVision, but yeah,
I
I think
Shocker.
for me, I know everyone was. Mine was Loki. I really love Loki, so I think this is like
Hey.
hype level. See, I like something. It's fun. Well, guys, thank you all for joining us tonight in the comments. We have our Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 5 review. I don't know why I didn't know that, but yeah.
Thank God
now-
it's episode 5.
I know. Episode 5 review at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is right after this one. So stay on this channel. You can follow us over at the Suit Up Geeks on Twitter and Instagram. So thank you guys so much. We'll be back here next Wednesday for episode 3 of Miss Marvel. And thanks for coming, guys. You can find us all here. Just Ryan again, Marcellus Durden, and Mr. Crockpot. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.